Uncle Doug.
Uncle Mark.
I oftentimes will find myself for too many reasons to count, marooned in a snowdrift upon a winter's eve.
I've been known to pull you out of that drift a couple times.
Yeah, but what I would like to see more than I would like to see you is a large mountain dog with the barrel of brandy around its neck to rescue me.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice.
Tough shit.
I don't know.
It's the wrong St. Bernard.
Oh.
We're going to talk about the breed of St. Bernard for 20 minutes.
Yeah, no. That is St. Bernard of Murphy.
That is St. Bernard of St. Moritz.
Yeah, literally that dog. The dog is named after a totally different. We're going to be talking about Bernard of Clairvaux.
Oh.
The more influential and more powerful St. Bernard.
Well, it's brandy or nothing. So if he's got brandy, let's talk about it. Because my love of brandy.
He's probably more of a mead guy.
Is that what they have in those barrels? It's brandy.
Yeah, he's brandy.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Although brandy probably came about around that time, so there you go.
Thanks for tuning in to Dog Talk.
This is this big. Actually, interestingly, I'm talking about Bernard of Clairvaux. The dog was actually named after Dachshund of Clairvaux, ironically. Very strange.
Is that true?
No, of course not. Oh, nothing I say is true.
It's Catholic. It could all be true.
Yeah, who knows? Who even knows? So what we're talking about is a medieval fellow born in 1090 at Fontaine-le-Dijon, which I believe translates to the Fountain of Mustard.
Mustard fountain, yeah.
Yeah, in France. He was the son of wealthy landowning gentry.
Sure.
In France,
Yeah.
in the Burgundy region of
If
France.
you got to be born in 1090 in France, you could do worse.
You could do worse.
Yeah.
And that means that he was, of course, well educated, which I think at that time meant he could read.
Yeah,
Right.
count to 10.
He could count to 20 if he took his shoes off.
Yeah, right. And so from an early age, he decided that his scholarship should focus and be devoted to the study of the Bible.
Why not?
So apparently,
What else are you going to study?
He wasn't that smart.
if you went to the library and there was the book,
Yeah.
that's the one you study.
There's 8 copies of one book and then a bunch of letters by other guys.
Yeah.
And
then, of course, at that time in France, there was already a well-established library of bird law.
lots of bird law.
But he didn't want to go into animal law.
He wasn't interested in the legalistic stuff, so
Right.
he went the other direction that you could go if you liked to read.
Yeah.
He was a very influential monk. He became a monk. He became abbot. He was instrumental in helping a new order of monks, the Cistercians,
Yes.
rather, gain prominence.
They were famous for their water tanks.
Right. These were actually monks who were sick and tired of how loosey-goosey those Benedictines had become, so they went and advocated for a more back-to-basics style of monking.
The licentious Benedictines.
Right.
We've all heard the story.
Cut loose in 1099.
Yeah, so these guys went back to the at austereness,
Right.
Yeah.
and tilling the land, that sort of monkery.
What accoutrement do they have to give up to get back to the basics in 1099?
I think the tops of their hair.
Yeah, it's amazing that a person in 1099 would be like, whoa, the modern world.
This is pretty cushy.
Too much for me.
What are you guys doing?
Like, we got to go back.
Yeah, we need to do more Ludditing in our nunkery.
Remember triple
monkery.
digits? Those were good times.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's our Bernard. Famous for a few things. Here's the thing. I'm getting to a thing that I love that's not even much of anything.
Right.
So I'll give you some fast facts about Bernard, and then we'll get to the reasons.
Bernard facts.
Fast facts about Bernard.
Yeah. And then we'll get to my favorite
The
thing.
bullet points of Bernard.
One,
brandy.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first one. Second one is that he rose in prominence pretty quickly at some point. I mean, he founded this his own monkery, whatever he called
Monkey
it.
House.
Monkey House.
Yeah.
and there spent some time there, but eventually became quite a thing. He became super obsessed with Mary, with the Virgin Mary. and that'll come back later.
Because that's not weird.
When he was a kid, he had a dream where he dreamt the whole birth of Jesus story, and ever since that time, he became obsessed. And so, like in Catholicism, Marian philosophy is a big deal, and he carried that banner more than anybody else. He wrote extensively about her. He was all about her as your intercessionary to God, praying to the Virgin Mary.
All monotheism.
Right, exactly. They do it right up there. And so, and now people pray to him. So, boom.
Wow.
This is this is where a lot of that importance of Virgin Mary came from. He was not a person who necessarily. This was not a time when the Catholic Church believed entirely in virgin, or rather the Immaculate Conception yet. That was a concept that was floating around but had not been canonized. And for those who are confused about it, the conception of Jesus was not the Immaculate Conception. The Immaculate Conception was the conception of Mary. So Mary's mother, somehow Mary was conceived and was conceived without sin, without original sin, and that is the Immaculate Conception, so that she could bear Jesus in her sin-free.
Is that true?
body.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. It's a very confusing. Those of us who weren't raised Catholic, and even I've met Catholics who don't know that.
So who banged Mary to produce Jesus?
God.
Oh,
Yeah, but who banged her mother?
nobody.
Her dad.
Oh,
But somehow magically, God zapped it before it got before she zapped that zygote.
So
before
hold on.
she got
Her
the-
mother is also a virgin. So her mother.
No, her mother's not a virgin.
I see.
But she was immaculately conceived. That doesn't mean virgin birth. That just means that she was conceived without sin. She somehow, original sin, which is transported, I guess, through semen or something,
through the mother.
through the parents.
Yeah.
It didn't get to her. She was not a carrier. So,
All right. Well, look, at the end of the day, all that matters is there is a massive worldwide religion that is completely obsessed with the pregnancy of a 12-year-old girl.
right. Yeah, exactly. And then thereafter obsessed with how great she was, and you should pray to her, and then she'll whisper your prayers into
Yes.
God's ears.
And also they're obsessed with the naughty bits of 12-year-old boys. But that's another story.
That's
Well, the good thing
just
is,
the priests. That's
even
not-
though that seems weird, nothing weird has come of it.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Okay. Let's get back to Bernard here. Bernard. So yes, obsessed with Mary. Totally talked about her a lot. He also can be one of the things. I don't know how much you guys remember about your medieval history,
Not much.
but long around the 1100s, they had this fun thing called the Crusades on.
Yeah.
Where they sent a bunch of folks, a bunch of knights to the Holy Land, and
It was a real estate transfer.
it was a delightful little pastime where Europeans would head to the Middle East and claim the Holy Land for their own because, Jesus, with the added benefit of the mass torture and murder of a whole bunch of brown folks
Who
along
just
the way.
happened to live there.
who rudely were saying, "Hey, this is where we live,"
Yeah.
and obviously that sort of affront cannot be brooked.
I mean, it was kind of it was very much like the Mormon missionary program, where one of an afternoon you're in your mud hut, ding dong, open the door, sword.
yeah, it was that sort of a
It
thing.
was like that.
And it turned out great.
Yeah.
And there was so after the First Crusade, a whole bunch of Europeans wanted to go to this newly acquired Holy Land.
They just wanted better weather. For fuck's sake.
Now it was white and delightsome.
Yeah.
So they felt comfortable to go and see all the fun Jesus-y sights.
Yeah.
But while Jerusalem itself was secure, the road thereto was not, and folks found themselves getting killed every so often.
They were beset by highwaymen.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And the brown kind too, which is the worst kind you want.
Right.
You don't. It's really ugly.
Your Saracens, your Blackamoors. Yeah.
You're various and sundry.
Your Macklemores.
Right. Well, that's the worst one. Not brown, but thinks he is. So,
Macklemore burn.
haha, gotcha. Nobody picks on Macklemore like we do. So a bunch of stout-hearted white folk eventually formed a small group, of about 9, one of whom was St. Bernard's uncle, calling themselves, and you may remember this name, the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. From such humble origins.
They were poor.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, for a long time, their banner was a horse with 2 riders because they couldn't even afford. But they were established to sort of protect people as pilgrims as they came in and out.
Shouldn't your banners be aspirational?
Instead of
Maybe that was maybe they were like these 2 guys have a horse.
a guy with sores wearing a barrel.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So they became the highway patrol.
They were the highway patrol, and Saint Bernard's uncle was one of the original.
All right.
And he liked them so much that he wrote a fun little pamphlet about them that gained enough traction that actually they became a cause célèbre of Europe, and money poured in, and then they became like one of the most powerful groups of non-state related knights ever.
Wow.
So Bernard was sort of instrumental in getting the Templar Knights famous and getting them going. Other fun facts about Saint Bernard: he managed to tamp down a schism that had formed after one pope died, and there was a whole schiz about like who was going to be the next pope. He managed to he was influential in the election of at least two popes.
How about that?
There's a thing I tried to find more about both of these incidents, but couldn't really find it. But under temptation. Excuse
A
me.
little burpee there, Bernard.
Yeah, well, it's that brandy.
Burpees in a top hat.
Yeah. He was tempted a number of times. He didn't like the temptations of the flesh. He was supposed to turn them down. He was a priest, for God's sake. So I found just a couple of things mentioned. One day, to cool down his lustful temptation, he threw himself into ice cold water, which I hear doesn't work, but who knows? I mean, it'll at least distract you.
Yeah.
Another time, apparently he was at an inn, and a prostitute who was naked was somehow introduced beside him.
Yeah.
And he
Somehow.
managed.
Oh, what? How'd this happen?
He managed to retain his chastity by literally fleeing. He ran away. So there you go.
This guy's a fucking hero.
He has the same.
No, please tell me these aren't his miracles.
No. He has the same the same reaction to a naked lady as Uncle Mark does.
I just want her to be comfortable. Right. That's why I jump out the window.
By you defenestrating yourself.
Auto defenestration. Which is not the strangly thing. People think that's what that is.
No. That's an entire. You have to tie a thing around another thing.
You can only get off by jerking off as you jump out a window.
I love that.
There's a support group.
You can only get off in a fleeing Uber.
Yeah. There's a support group. We meet at the emergency room.
Right. All of this is fun and interesting, but I have to get to now. I mentioned his obsession with Mary, and I have to get to the thing that first got me reading about this guy, which is a series of paintings and depictions in stained glass and elsewhere of what is known as Lactatio Bernardi.
Oh, God.
Also called the Lactation of St Bernard. Now,
can we stop? Can we just stop?
Nope.
We're good. Thanks. Moving on.
Well, don't worry, Uncle Mark.
Okay.
You've got the wrong idea.
Yeah.
He himself didn't lactate.
Okay.
What you will find if you look up the Lactation of St Bernard is numerous beautifully illustrated pictures of Mary having moved the Christ child aside from her breast for a moment so that she may squirt milk from herself onto the beloved Saint Bernard.
You know what? I've seen these images.
I seem to remember that. Yeah,
it's a delightful thing. She's a straight shot. She's got a really good aim with that tit of hers.
Is it going into a chalice or is it just going on his face?
On his face, like Mary, it's Madonna Bukkake.
It's Bukkake.
It's Bukkake.
Yeah.
It is
the
most amazing thing. Either sometimes he's depicted asleep and she's just dripping. Just a lovely little thing onto his lips.
But what
Other
is it-
times she's like 3 feet away and just nailing that target.
What does it symbolize? Like just that they're connected?
So there's this idea that he was praying before the image of Madonna and asking her to show that she is a mother. I don't know why.
Sure. He was praying in front of the image. Of
Right,
Madonna.
exactly. And then somehow
And there was a
magically
milky substance
a
on his
milky substance
face.
appeared on his face. And ta-da!
And
a legend is born.
the
Yeah, so
Archbishop is
exactly.
like,
What,
Right, yeah.
what the hell?
Milk. It's milk
yeah.
from Mary.
I don't believe you. Well, it is 10.99. You're right.
You're right.
It was milk.
Right.
True.
And the Archbishop pulls out his cell phone and says, "Get me a stained glass guy here now."
Right.
Stat.
So there you go. There is. That's just a thing. I wanted to get to it somehow, so I had to talk about St. Bernard. There you go.
Well,
That's all I got.
You went and did it. And what was his martyrdom? Did he die in a dairy accident of some kind? Was he was lactose intolerant. He got so phlegmy, he died.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it that. I don't even care about the actual thing. That's what he died of.
Well, blessed be his name, I guess.
Yeah.
Mother's milk. This guy, and we can thank him for the Templars and for
All that stuff that's super relevant today.
yeah, all the stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad we had that little chat.
He's the
Let's move on.
patron saint of cows.
Let's move on.
Okay.